Hi, folks. Larry Rolla here with my pal Joe.
How are you? Thanks for having me, Larry. Thanks for having me.
The last time we met, we stirred up a bunch of controversy. I never got as many emails in my whole life as I did after that podcast that we did. But anyway, I'm glad you came back. I know you have a lot to talk about, where the horses are, how they're doing, maybe some new projects that you're involved with the veterinarians in New Jersey, and we're going to get to that. But first, before you start, I'm going to steal maybe 5 or 10 minutes of your time, and it's basically self-promoting. So here goes. And I want you people out there to listen to this. Years back, I started a private club, and I put it all together. I probably spent $2,000 or $3,000 putting this whole thing together. And the reason I didn't go forward with it was because Frank Collada convinced me to write a book about my life story. And I did. So I put this project in the drawer. And that's where it stayed until last week. Now, here's the project. And I still might do this thing. And if there's anybody out there that wants to come aboard, because what has to be done with this, I don't know how to do. I don't know how to respond to email. I don't know nothing about that. So if anybody's out there interested in coming with me and putting this thing together, it has to be somebody that's computer savvy and somebody that knows how to do all this stuff with social media stuff, because I don't. But anyway, here's my idea. And like I said, if anybody's interested, just email, because this could, in my opinion, this could work. So now I'm gonna read it to you, and like I said, I spent about $2,000 or $3,000 putting this whole thing together with the membership agreement and everything else, and like I said, it's a private club, and here goes. I got to put my reading glasses on. Okay. And I have this all, I have the website. I have everything is done. There's a website done. Everything is done. So here's the club. The name of the club is called the Bullshit Club. That's the official website. And here's what I wrote in the beginning, so I'll read it to you and you'll get the idea. Join the fastest growing club in the country, the Bullshit Club. The Bullshit Club is developing a 2-part documentary exposing the many contemptible people in the world today. The first part of our documentary will feature the bullshit artist. That's going to be the working title. The increase in the amount of bullshit in contemporary life today is astonishing, as the phrase equal justice for all. Husbands, wives, lovers, friends, family, presidents, politicians, priests, lawyers, mobsters, reporters, and countless others have said not what they know, but not what's true, but what they want you to believe. Not what is, but what works. Bullshit is odorless, but recognizable, and in most cases, one responsible for spewing bullshit has yet to be exposed until now. So, the second part of the documentary will expose assholes, jerk-offs, and scumbags, the people we deal with every day. Now, here's the meaning, so you could understand what an asshole, a jerk-off, and a scumbag is. An asshole is an annoying, morally repugnant, arrogant, rude, obnoxious, self-centered, conceited person who causes extreme irritability through their actions. A jerk-off is a lazy, foolish loser who engages in activities that are inherently wasteful and for which there is no tangible compensation or reward other than one's own mental stimulation. And a scumbag is a reprehensible, contemptible prick, a sleazy person with no morals and holds no regard for anyone or anything but themselves. Them are the documentaries we're going to make. Now, to enter this, to be a part of the documentary, you have to be a member of the club. To be a member of the club is $20 for a lifetime membership. And all members have the chance of, I'll read it to you. To enter, submit a 200-word or less, your experience with the most outrageous, ridiculous, entertaining, or funniest bullshit story you ever heard, and a story pertaining to the biggest asshole, jerk-off, or scumbag you know. Okay? Send the material to, and then I have this is all on the website. All entries must be received by June, but that's all changed. All right? Annual membership is $20 for life, and that includes a T-shirt that reads, "Stop the fucking bullshit." And you also get a certificate of membership. $500 will be awarded to all members whose entries are featured in our documentary. So that's basically it. So my idea was, and the reason I come up with this idea was, number one, out of sheer boredom. Number two was a couple of friends of mine had a TikTok account. And they had 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 followers, and they had friends that also had millions of followers. So I figured that I could get them as a partner, and even if I get 1 million of these TikTok followers to join the club for $20, that's $20 million. It costs a couple of $100,000 to make a documentary with this. Give $500 to each of whatever stories we use, and include them in the documentary. And everybody, whoever's involved, walks away with millions of dollars. And we can do this and at the same time expose all the bullshit artists, scumbags, jerk-offs, and assholes. So anyway, that's basically the idea. So if anybody is interested in putting this thing together, just get in touch with me. Now, the reason I brought this out, I took it out of the drawer, was because of the situation I have with our friend Michael. And he's been on Facebook now and all the social media stuff, saying a lot of bad things about me, calling me a lot of names, and he's just a desperate guy. And the reason I thought about him is because he fits every one of these situations. He's a bullshit artist, he's an asshole, he's a jerk off, and he's a scumbag. And that's what made me pull this out. And I'm probably going to wind up doing this. But anyway, this will be the last time I even mention this guy's name. After that last podcast and after the 2 or 3 things that he put on social media, first of all, what he put on social media was all my arrest records, the records of when I was barred, what years I was barred, and all the trouble I got into. Well, these are things that I talk about every day on my podcast, and that's what my whole book is about. So the damage he did to me there was no damage. In fact, if you remember the last podcast we had, I told him, go back 50 years and you have a lot of stuff. And that's what he did, but it's already out there. Everybody knows. Now, I have to say this to Mike, because in a way I feel bad for the guy, because his GoFundMe page, that's all done. His pal Dave, who was financing his whole existence, is gone. He double banked him, and he's one of the maybe 120 people that contacted me during the week, telling me what a bad, vicious person he is. And I'm going to leave out the stuff that could probably get you arrested, Mike. But it's just unbelievable that you wind up making enemies. You're barred from every racetrack. You're barred from Freehold. You're barred from Yonkers. You're barred from the Meadowlands. Even Jason Barlett, the leading driver at Yonkers, you went against him. And here's a guy that helped you, got presents for your kids at Christmas time and everything else. And I just don't understand why you keep challenging people. You made me a challenge, like I was going to call you and threaten you, so you could record it, and you just have something else to. I'm never going to call you after this, after what and I have about 30 more seconds to go, and then I'll never mention your name again. I can only tell you this. Your whole family disowns you. And since our last podcast, I must have got, like I said, over 100 phone calls, emails, and everything else. Everybody hates you. I never met a person that has so many people that you screwed over and fucked and robbed and stole so many people, including your own family. What kind of guy is disowned by his whole family? What kind of guy don't support his own kids, never raised his kids? What kind of guy whose wife hates his guts? I mean, you're a man, you stand alone. It's like a man on an island. You have nobody that likes you. And you out and out screw and fuck everybody. It's just, I didn't want to go there. That's why I told you last time, just stay neutral, just leave me alone. All you had to do was say to my people, my friends, that, yeah, Larry didn't know about airing that air. He didn't know about the horses when he aired that thing. That's all you had to say. Just leave me alone. Now you made it personal. Now you come with the threats and everything else, which really, Michael, you stand alone. You got nobody. Your family don't want you. Your kids don't want you. Jason Barlett don't want you. Dave, the guy that was supporting you, don't want you. You have no place to go. You're going to be scuffling around now, looking for money. You're nothing but a troublemaker, and you're just a vindictive, mean, bottom-feeding loser. And just get over it. I don't know how much longer you can last because you have no more money. There's nobody's going to help you now. Everybody hates you. You have one lawsuit against you now for bothering a woman, some kind of sexual thing. Another thing. I don't even know how the hell you got your license. I think it was 1907 or 1908, you got arrested for fraud. You robbed somebody's money. And you got arrested. Your family put up money to bail you out. You robbed that money. How'd you ever get a license? I don't know, but it's none of my. It's that I don't care. But I just don't get it. I've gotten so many reports about you, Michael, that I couldn't. I just had to say just briefly what I'm saying now. I got letters about horses that you abused at Goshen. And I know you're going to deny all of this, but you have no friends left, Mike. You got nobody. So why don't you just go get a job? You're living in a one of them one-room fucking welfare places. It's so sad. I really reached out to your family only because they're friends of mine that grew up in Staten Island where you grew up. And I know you left there when you were 15, 16 years old, but they all said that you were a scumbag back then too as a kid. And then everybody moved to Goshen. And it's just unbelievable how you could make so many enemies, and I cannot name one friend. Probably the best friend you had was Dave, and and you went against him. I was in touch with your family only because I have very good friends that know your family and know your father, and none of them speak to you. And I said to them, I said, maybe I should try to help this guy, because for me, arguing with you is like arguing with somebody that's just mentally, it's terrible. It's like beating a guy when he's down and out on the ground. And I don't want to do that. But you're relentless. You never stop, and you're going to continue with your lies and everything else. And all you had to do was say, Larry didn't know about the problem with the horses, which was not true anyway. There was no problem with the horses. But Larry didn't know at the time of the airing. That's all you had to say. But you want to start this. You want to take it to the street. And Michael, if you wanted to take it to the street, that's where I grew up. And if the end result would be something that you lawyers can't fix. So do yourself a favor. Go get a job. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Now, as far as the Bullshit Club goes, thanks to Michael, I took it out of the drawer. If anybody's interested in more stuff, I have a whole website built. I have everything built. Everything's ready to go. I just need somebody that's going to handle this whole thing for me. And like I said, if we get like 1 million people, 2 million, this is going to go worldwide. You know, you get 10 million people who have like $200 million. I know most of these probably don't need the money, but it'd help other people. Anyway, that's it. Joe, what do you want to talk about, Joe?
Let's talk about the story with the horse. That's what,
Now, from what I understand, the horses, first everybody should know that when the horses, the only problem with the horses was that they were covered with mud because 2 weeks prior to getting up there, it rained, it snowed. That was that whole 2-week period. They were covered with snow. They're all in good flesh.
Right.
Tell me if I'm wrong. They all have been examined by a veterinarian. They're all in good shape. You could see by the pictures that we put up that they're in good flesh. Everything is fine, and this guy just caused a whole bunch of trouble in an effort for him to try to make some money.
He, like you said, I told the guy something. I don't hate the guy. He did fuck my life up a little bit. I'm a financial guy. I'm not a criminal, and I do what I got to do to make a living the right way, and the guy came in, okay, he cares about the horses. I spent the whole day with him. I said one thing to him. I says, look, you're doing a good thing, and I would love for you to have fear for you, okay, if you're a horse abuser or a jerk-off, like one of the memberships for your club. And I says, but innocent people shouldn't get thrown under the bus. Me personally, I was in a bad spot. Someone was talking. I don't know who it was. It gets out. The next thing you know, there's people at my farm. They don't realize that the Department of Agriculture has an open case with me, and my vet is handling everything, and I'm exonerated from bullshit that was started from another organization. If a horse isn't wearing a jacket, the fucking horse is abused. It's a bunch of bullshit. When they're living in the fucking wild, what does someone come out of a fucking tree and put a coat on them? Or fucking fix their tail and take the mud off of them. They got a place to live. They are worm. They eat. They had their feet done. They're like the Marines. There's a ration. You get your fucking can, you open your can, you eat your can of food for the day. If you eat all your fucking food in one day, you starve for a week. That's how it is.
And also, just let me say this. Each one of them horses were well over 20 years old.
Oh, they're 25.
Yeah.
One of them was 27. I've been feeding that horse for 7 years. Sure. Here's what I want to say, and I'm not going to direct nothing at Mike. I don't have a problem with the guy. Okay, he's not my son. He's not my brother. You know, I actually had a good time with the guy, but, you know, then he went to doing what he did. He proceeded to put it up my ass in plain terms, which, hey, it is what it is. He came on the property. The people didn't want him on the property. Came on the property, took pictures. It's all good, but at the end of the day, my situation, I needed help. I didn't need help with my horses. I didn't need help with money. I needed help because I was encroaching on a farm that I sold to people when I really didn't realize that I have no other farm to go to. And I thought I could just find one right away. And I was wrong. We all make mistakes. We all need help sometimes, all of us, okay? So I needed a place. But thanks to Mike, I'm going to be honest with you, he put me in touch with some beautiful people, okay? I don't think it was his intentions to do that. I'm going to be honest with you.
Judy you're talking about.
Yeah, you know, I met Judy. I met a couple of nice people. And, you know, a guy like him, if you give it his tenacity for going after horse abusers, my hat's off to the guy. But you can't fucking persecute everybody. Like me, I'll show you, I had a video, I don't know where it went, of me, I bought a 100 horsepower tractor, I paid 80 grand for it, to pick up horses that I have, that I love, that want to live, that have EPM. And you know EPM, it's a terrible disease. You got these little spirochetes and one single-celled organisms that get in the sheaths of the nerves, and the brain doesn't coordinate, and it causes neurological problems and eventually kills them. I'm not killing anything. Okay, when it tells me it wants to die, then I'll call up the vet, and the vet will come and euthanize them. And it'll bother me. But I don't know anyone who picks up horses with tractors. They probably say I'm a horse abuser if they see me with a belt that I made to lift the horse up, put him on his feet, and then cut him loose after 20 minutes till his legs are back on the room. And he runs back with his friends, he eats, and he's happy. You know what I mean? Hey, that's my prerogative. I feed him, I took care of him, I do what I have to do. Are my horses fat? No. Anything, you're dealing with horses a long time. Most of the horses I had at 4, they were already arthritic, and they needed, you know, help from all the work. I mean, they're a big, like a cinder block on toothpicks. That's what someone told me one day. They have toothpicks for legs, and it's a big cinder block. How long can they stay sound doing the things that as trainers that we do to them? They're asked to give 100% at minimum at all times. They give 100%, whether you ask for it or not. You know, and I just don't want to be abused. I don't want to be, you know, have people taking shots at me. I don't want guys looking to do Rambos on me, all the tough guys in the world that don't look into two sides of every story.
Well,
you know,
look.
but they were fed false information. I'm going to even tell you something, Mike. He was fed wrong information. He came there like a gangbuster, and, you know, own conclusions were drawn from people that called him.
He's like an ambulance chaser. I was willing to let the whole thing drop until I got, when he started with all his stuff on YouTube that he put all about me.
Well, the guy's frustrated, and you know what? You're a guy, look, you got wisdom. You've been around. You're 84 years old. All right, you're a knock-around guy. We're all knock-around guys. Even he's a knock-around guy. But guys could learn from you.
No,
guys could learn from me.
He's not a knock-around guy.
But he butts heads with everybody.
I spoke with his family. I spoke with everybody that he grew up with since he was born. Friends, family, everybody else. Everyone says that what I'm speaking now is what was told to me. He's a vicious, scummy, fucking bottom-feeding person who does whatever he can to make money. He does not care about the horses. That's just a way to get in. He found another avenue to try to get money from other people because they thought he's doing a good thing. Two people called me up. I'm not going to mention their names because I told them that I wouldn't, but they all told me their stories. That it was at Goshen that he had a horse standing in shit for 2 or 3 weeks. The girl took the horse out of there, and now he wanted to kill the girl. The guy got arrested. He's just a phony fraud, and that's what he is. Mike, I hate to expose you like this because I know what it is to be down and out. But you're a guy that cares for nobody. Everybody who helped you turned against. You're a vicious person. And when I said to your family, let me look, I know what it's like to be down and out. Sometimes you do things you shouldn't do and everything. And your family told me he's a vicious guy that don't care about nothing. They told me what you did to your mother on her deathbed. Disgusting. They told me the whole horror stories. I can't get into some of them because they're going to wind up locking you up. I don't want to see you go to jail. Just leave me the fuck alone. That's all. And leave Joe alone. The horses are in good shape. They're at the farm. Judy loves them at the farm. They're having a ball. They're in good flesh and in good health when they got there. Since then, they've been given shots. The vets, everything is fine. There was nothing wrong with them to begin with, except that they were dirty. And then you had to start this whole bunch of shit. All this.
But the poor people at my farm, look, I have my differences with them. Okay, they're good people. They bust their fucking ass every day. They bought the home from me, and we worked with each other.
I helped the farm you sold.
Yeah, the people that bought it. They're harmless people, good people. They sell chickens, they build sheds for the horses, and ever since I met them, I've helped them come in. It's a big move, a big transition. They got a lot of shit. I helped them. They extended the courtesy for me to stay at the farm. And, it just got longer and longer and longer, and, I'm trying to say, shit, it's going to be winter. It's still winter here. It's a problem for me. I can't move. Like, I got people's animals. I adopt their horses. I had 90 horses at one time at my fucking farm. I placed 60 in my sister's friend's rescue out in Colorado. Another good person I introduced to Judy. They want to take all the standard breds they could get on the saddle and give them to people to use as riding horses. They love the horses. I see at least 40 of my horses every week. They have forever homes. They're monitored. It's perfect. I really want to help and talk to people about this, because if we could save 1,000 horses a year and make some older person happy that they got a riding horse, or they could just put them on their property as lawn ornaments to eat. There's 100 acres on all of these houses.
I think Judy is working on something like that with the racetracks to get a certain amount of money.
Yeah, well, she's got a lot of good ideas, and I've been helping her because, she works a lot. The woman's a nice woman, and I feel indebted to the woman because she gave me what I needed, which was a place to keep the horses. I'm going to be feeding them, and I'm happy that I met these people.
Good.
It took an ugly thing to meet these people.
Yeah.
But, everyone could learn from others and just take a step back, take a peek.
It's just sad that this guy is such a scummy fuck.
Well,
and I'm only saying that because the people that sent me these messages and phone calls and everything, and there were hundreds of them.
Well, people tortured me too.
It's
unnecessary.
They wanted
really
me to say a whole lot more. They gave me his day by, and it's sad because what Mike says that he's going to do really needs attention. He's not doing it for that reason. He says it's all about the horses. It's all about the money to him.
Look, in life, I took care of a lot of animals. I'm 60. I'm not old, but I'm not young. I don't have the money I used to have no more. You know what it's like to feed 90 horses. I averaged out every year the amount of horses I had for the last 25 years. Comes out to 37 horses a year for 25 years. It's a lot of money. I spent all my money, and I can't put myself in the poorhouse. Okay, so I do what I can. I have X amount of grain, X amount of hay, and I could take care of business. So what I can't afford to pay other people to do, I do it myself. I'm working 18 hours a day because I had a little bit of a problem too, earning money. I'm used to earning big money. It's tough out there, you know, and no one hands you shit. You got to work. And, you know, I'm not afraid to work. I've been working my whole life like you. And I got a lot of good stuff happening that's going to help the game out in a big way. You know, the stem cell product, you know all about it. And I tried to actually invent that product because I see people blistering horses.
Are you allowed to say who your investors are, or you don't want to say that?
No, I don't really need to say
Okay,
that. I have
all right.
people all over the world that
Okay.
invest and do things with me. And, you know, we don't really even have anybody. It's me, a partner of mine, Ben and Mark, that founded the company with a lab. And, you know, I was funding a stem cell company, a human company, which is trading public. And I took the knowledge and, you know, we were going to put a veterinarian division in. And they didn't have the time or the money to do what I bargained for. So I said, look, I'm going to go and do what I got to do because that was my idea that I set out to do. I wanted to find a liniment that would be able to generate healing and what's in the blood flow that's brought to the area by irritants that they don't even allow you to, they don't even have the right ones anymore. The people are making dope and drugs out of the shit that's involved in the real paint that was from back in the day. So you don't get the iodine and all the other stuff that really made it work. But let's forget about the product and how it worked. The horses would get blistered and they would be agitated and they would try to kick you when you went near them. That's like putting an animal in pain to make it well so it could race better. I'd rather just go and find something, and that's what we did. We found the inside proteins from stem cells, which contain healing, and we used that in a topical, and we put it all together with a lab out of Lancaster, and the lab's on the map now, and we're on the map. And, you know, the best guys in the game use the product, and they say this product is too good.
Is it available now for everybody?
Well, we're waiting on FDA approval. It should happen this year, but we've had it in over 27 countries, and some of the biggest names in the sport have loved the product, and there's a shitload of real success stories with some high-profile animals. Maybe we'll bring those people on and let them talk about their story in person. I don't feel like I want to discuss things with people, you know, and there's a lot of other things that we have, and I'm looking at a lot of ideas to help putting like jobs together for these animals. We got a lot of connections with the human company, with the Department of Defense, the Marines, NFL, local, you know, organizations, unions, football, you know, all kinds of stuff. And maybe these people will start implementing horses again like they did in the Army and in the police force. You know, it's a pain in the ass to have to clean up for an animal, but they do have a utility spot like in Manhattan where if you get caught in a traffic jam, you know, you can't chase down a perpetrator or a criminal. But on a horse, you could run up a sidewalk, you could run up a short road, you give a horse a job. And, you know, the government's getting tax dollars on it. Why don't they take a role in doing something? They're earning. They're a partner in the taxes. And
when I was
it
down
should
at
work that way.
When I was down at the farm with you that day, because right after Mike pulled all his bullshit, I got in my car and I drove down there in the pouring rain, and we took some pictures of your horses in the paddocks in the pouring rain, and they were all in good flesh and good. The horses are fine. And then after that, we talked for 2 or 3 hours with Judy, who owned the farm, and she was talking about a lot of good things that she was going to do, and she's partnered up with a friend of hers and with this fellow.
They're really good people, and you know they're not young, they're not old, but there's people that are looking to give back and help the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And they too have a major problem with this whack job. They too have a major problem with him. I think, from what I understand from one or two of the phone calls that I got that you don't even know about, there's a lot of lawsuits heading his way, and he's going to be in serious trouble.
Well,
And
you know how I am, right? I don't wish anybody bad. If you call me in the middle of the night and you got a problem, I'm gonna fucking come.
you know
and help
why I
you.
wish him bad, Joe? You know why
No,
I
I'm not
agreed?
saying him. Look, he knows what he's doing. He knows. I told you there was one side of him where I enjoyed his company, but the other side,
You know what he did the other day? He
I
put it on
couldn't enjoy his
Facebook, and then
company.
he did it personal to me. He called me a motherfucker 3 times.
yeah, well, you're an elder to him, and
He
you should
called
be
me a
respected.
motherfucker 3
He's an
times.
Italian. I'm an Italian. You're an Italian. You are a guy that deserves respect, right, wrong, or indifferent, because you're 80-something years old, and you
But
know
you know,
what? That's the way I was brought up.
here's the problem, Joe. One of the biggest things I can't get over in my life, there's 3 things in my life that I wanted to do that I couldn't do that haunt me till today. One was when I got barred in '84. I got barred because Joe Landau they bought the racetrack from Slutsky after he died, and they ran dog tracks. Joe Landau was the head of the racetrack, and he barred me. And when we went to court, and he was walking down after the court was over, we went across the street. Me and the attorney. It was on Bloom Street, the commission office. We went across, the parking lot was right there. I was standing on the sidewalk talking with the attorney. Here comes down Joe Landau. And I says, listen, this is Joe. He says, the lawyer says, keep quiet. This is Joe coming. I says, just take a step back. I wanted to hit him so bad. I said, the lawyer says, don't do nothing stupid. Because I didn't hit him, that haunts me till today. This fucking bottom-feeding rat calls me a motherfucker 3 times, and then he says, call me, I'm here, so I could threaten him over the phone and everything else. Them days for me are gone. Had this happened a few years back, he'd have a major, major problem. And all the names that he mentions, I spoke to all of these people. They hate his fucking guts. He's just not a nice person. And
Well,
instead of doing something stupid that can get me in trouble, this is how I'm venting. He's just a bad person, and that's not from me. It's from everybody that he dealt with.
What you said to him a year ago, I think that was very kind,
And then you know what
and
he
it was
did?
complimentary.
You know what he did? All them posts, because he made a statement that I never text Larry in my life. The only time I talked to him was on the phone with Joe. I have the text. I have him here. I read him
see
to
the way,
him.
you
And then
see-
you know what he did? He eliminated them. I don't know how he did it, but they're not there no more. But I took screenshots of them. You know, when all this first happened, he eliminated them. And then all the stuff that he said about me, he eliminates that. He's just a slimy fucking rat. And he should do himself a favor and leave me the fuck alone.
Well, this thing is over. I mean,
It's
at
over.
least
It's over. I'm
whatever
never
he
even
started-
gonna mention
But there's
it.
a happy ending at it. He knows his faults. I know my faults. You know your faults. I don't want to bother nobody. You're my friend. Whatever you need, I help you. I tried to talk to him about things.
How's
He's
everything going at the
not ready
farm
to
with
hear
the
about
horses
it.
and Judy?
Yeah, everything is
fine?
great. I go there. The horses are good. They love the horse. We got a plan for them. I'm going to help them because they're helping me. We're going to step out and talk to a couple of people in the game. I got a lot of nationwide people. I got people in China. I got people all over the place that are attached to racing. Okay, I was consulting on tracks and all kinds of shit. Good shit's going to happen. Not too long ago, a friend of mine that runs some things in Cambodia, Laos, and what's that other place over there? Thailand. They wanted to build a racetrack. They called me because one of the guys is there for 40 years and beautiful mountains in the back, the sea. They says this would be a great resort for all the sheiks and all the people. And, I always was talking about an international meet where everyone could go and converge and It would be really nice to grow the sport instead of fucking the sport up. Because this sport is fucking on its on its knees. You know, it ain't gonna last in New Jersey. Because people, in my opinion, people don't give a fuck about the horses. And you know, for me to be accused as a bad guy, I fucking fed these horses for 5 years. I have horses that I lived in Brooklyn. I still have one, my first one, that I took from Jeff from Four Star Stables. He gave it to me, and I kept her. I taught her how to ride under the saddle. I even put her on the pace, and we trained her because I love the
Let me
game.
ask you a question. How much money, in your opinion, have you spent on the care of horses in the last 25 years?
The care of other people's horses is over $1 million. The care of my horses, probably $10 million. Okay? The other day I had a problem with my kid. He goes, you had to deal with these horses. I don't want animals. I had all kinds of animals. I had fucking raccoons. I had a deer. I risked getting into trouble having these animals because I would grab them on the road, bring them, throw them in my trunk. The fucking thing is trying to bite me. And then in like a month, it's like a dog. And then I had to let it go. And that broke my heart because I said, this fucking thing is going to die. The deer I had for a long time, all right? And he knew his name. I used to throw apples to him. He used to jump over the fence and trot the fence line with my trotter. It was a great thing. But, you know, in the state, you can't own these animals. You know, I had him semi-loose, but he stayed in his little running shed. He thought he was a horse, and he knew where he stayed. But, you know, I spent millions and millions and millions of dollars, and I'm still spending a lot of money. And you know what? Everybody that's abusing me doesn't own one fucking horse.
Now,
They don't pay for one horse.
I know, I don't know if we want to talk about this, but I know that a book is being written, your story is being written.
No, we're going to do a movie probably because I don't have the patience to write, but it's going to go, and, you know, I'm going to talk to you about it as well. It's going to be a good movie that pretty much puts my life, and it's going to start like what we started with the story about the OTB and the loving of animals. And you know what? I've already been rewarded with that world champion. Okay? Taking other people's animals, vetting them. They got EPM. I'm spending $7,000-8,000 a year just on fucking vet medicine for one horse. And I get people coming over, they're telling me I'm a fucking bad guy. People want to kill me. Why? Get the facts straight, you know what I'm saying? I didn't do nothing wrong. I do what I can. Do I ration? Yeah, I do. I only have so much money. I don't want to be on the fucking soup line at the end of the year. But here's what my point is. Would people rather see horses in a muddy paddock after it rains and snows? And if it's a 1 acre paddock or a 2 acre paddock? I have dogs that are used to their life. If you gave them a big fucking field or a mountain, they'd probably run away and never come back. They're used to what they're used to, okay? And that's it. If they're used to being in a 2 acre paddock, that's what they do. They're horses. They have a shed. They get fed. They have water. They have, wormers. And that's it. What
Well,
they
the
need,
proof
they
of the
get.
pudding there, and there's an argument on both sides of that, but the horses are herd animals, they're over. In the meantime, whenever there's a fire, if a horse is born and raised on a farm, if there's a fire in the barn,
Yep, he
the
goes
horse will
right in the
always
stall
run
in the
back into
fire.
the stall.
Yeah,
He'll go right
'cause
back
that's
to
his
the stall.
place.
That's where he belongs.
Right, and that's
So-
what my horse Autistic was in that upper paddock. You know why? Because it's the highest spot on that farm, okay? And he was there, and he has hair on him. You know why? Because when you put a blanket on him, like Peter and all of these other people say, you know, look, they got a job in their minds. They're right. I don't butt heads with no one.
Yeah,
Do whatever you like.
but Joe, just
But-
because they're Peter and just because they're animal rights people, right is right and wrong is wrong. Blankets do not belong on horses.
Right, and you know what? A blanket belongs on a horse if I had a guy, he used to shave the horses in the winter. And
Oh, yeah.
his idea was if they don't have hair, they dry off. But now you got to keep a blanket on them
No,
because
that-
you're taking away nature's own way
True.
of taking care of the animal. An animal wants to go in mud. Let him go in the mud. Let him enjoy himself. They roll in the fucking mud. They like that.
Yeah.
Why? What's to say? A horse, autistic fella, stayed in the stall at show place with Steve. He had a foot of shavings. That ain't the way a horse wants to live. If that horse could talk like Mr. Ed, like my friend Ben tonight, he goes, oh, If we could hire Mr. Red, we'd be all right, because he fucking talks. These other horses don't talk. So you got a horse, he's sitting in 2 feet of bedding. He's eating, he's got the grooms rubbing on him. He'd rather be out running around in the field, rolling in the dirt, throwing his fucking shoes off, and costing you money and busting the fence boards. Like I got this little horse, he's a yearling. It's not a racehorse. I adopted him from a slaughter pen. It cost me 20 grand. Because a friend of mine came to the farm, sends me a picture. Could we help this horse? It said it was going to the slaughterhouse in Mexico. Okay? Okay. I brought the guy to the farm. He's going to show me these pictures every day. I'm going to be broke. I call up the farm. They says, yeah, their mothers were slaughtered. They're 2 months. 2 fucking months. You know, you want a reason to go fucking nuts? Someone should go down to that slaughterhouse and set them straight. Because that's really abuse. You don't do that. I took these 2 little bastards, not a black one, busted through the fence, and he got his ass kicked from all the mares at one of the properties I'm at. Because he ran in there at 1 year old. They're ornery little bastards, and that's what they like to do. And I get a kick out of the 2 colts. They rear up, they like playing the horseplay and all of that shit. That's what they do. You know, when you take that away from them, they're not horses anymore. Like people. We're human beings. A human being is not a fucking animal that inhabits the planet. We're imposters. You know, you got a problem, somebody cuts you off, you want to chase him and pull him out of his car and choke him or something. You don't, because we're human beings, because we got to follow the rules. Some people don't follow the rules, you know, and that's where mayhem comes in. And nice guys finish last, always. That's my philosophy. If you're a nice guy, you get fucked. I've been a nice guy my whole life. I don't like that people are talking about me, okay? I don't want to start with Mike, because I don't want him on my back, you know, and that's basically where I'm at, okay? I told the guy what I felt personal between him and I. Maybe he takes my advice, maybe he don't. That's his prerogative. You and me, we've been friends for quite a while. I respect you. I try to help everybody. You know the kind of guy I am. And that's it. I just don't want to be bothered. I take care of my animals. I don't want people thinking I'm a bad guy.
This fucking mutt destroyed so many people, hurt so many people. It gets me sick that I'm even because I keep saying I'm never going to mention his name again. But this guy is going to fucking haunt me because just like Joe Landau, I didn't do what I wanted to do, but I'm not going to do it. And
I would just leave it alone. You know, there's no winning.
You know,
It's
when
just
his
gonna
own
continue.
family tells you that he's no good, he's been no good since he was a kid. And they tell you the horror stories he did to his mother and his father and how his family raised his own kids and his wife left him. Nobody talks to the guy. The guy lives in a 1-room fucking government thing, whatever it is. And that's why he's going to come back and say that none of it's true. But well, even if he does, I'm not going to respond to anymore. But believe me, Michael, I have hundreds of emails telling me of the things that you did. 2 or 3 of them would put you in prison. So I'm not going to release them. Just leave me the fuck alone and go about your business, because you're going to haunt me in my head anyway, because I didn't do what I should have did to you from the first night that you sent me that message. Just remember, you say you come from the street, you put on your fucking dark glasses. The whole world knows I went blind welding when I was a kid. That's why I wear dark glasses. These fucking lights are killing me right now because I don't have these glasses on, okay? And because I put them on, you come on and do a podcast with dark glasses. Say, yeah, but and you call me a gangster. I'm not a fucking gangster. But however, after you're penniless and everything else, if you ever want to meet me in the street, it'd be my pleasure. And I'm probably 20 years older than you. It'd be my pleasure. That's as much as I'm going to say, because I'm going to start getting fucking stupid. Anyway, everything good's on the farm, right? Everything is fine?
Yeah, the whole place is good. I'm happy where I am. I met a lot of nice people, and I'm going to try to help those people out as much as I can to show gratitude, because no one else stepped up and helped me, you know. And like I said, I needed a place to get out of the.
You still going to
people's-
look for a farm now, or you're going to leave the horses there
Yeah,
and
no,
work with Judy?
I bought that trucking business because I'm getting too old to just do commission, and I'm probably going to buy another farm in about a year from now, 7-8 months. You know, I might even get back into the racing. It depends. I miss competition. I miss doing things, but you know, I always pride myself on like keeping a watch on the herd. And you know, look, if I got horses, I let them be horses. Like I said, if I got 3,000, 4,000 a month to utilize on the horses with the hay and the grain, that's what I do. They're alive, right? What would you rather see them in a slaughterhouse waiting to be slaughtered,
No,
or would you rather see them with mud, happy? Okay, they're not fat. They don't have a big fat ass on them, and they're all out of shape. No, but you know what? The fat ones don't make it either. They colic, they get arthritic. They got their own problems. You know, you see a guy in the Marines, he's fucking 130 pounds. Then when he goes into battle, he's got 70 fucking pounds of weights on his back between a bag, a gun, his lunch, and all the other fucking shit. That's why they can do that. Some of the best trainers, their horses are ribby. Why you need the extra fat on them? But they got big fat asses on them, and they got, you know, tight on the ribs, and they got a chest on them. You know, they're like bodybuilders and shit. But
Someday we're going to do a podcast and we're going to talk about the biggest controversy out there is Lasix, and I'm completely against it. And I keep waiting for
Lasix
somebody.
kills horses all the time.
Yeah, I keep waiting for somebody to come on and challenge me, somebody that's that wants Lasix. But you know what don't make no sense to me, Joe? Let me tell you what don't make no sense to me about Lasix, and I won't go into it. I'll just make this one statement. It's true that 3 cc's, well, let's say 5 cc's. That's what just about everybody gives. Some give a lot more, but let's just use 5 cc's. 5 cc's of Lasix. I'll start off like this. A horse weighs, let's say 1,000 pounds. 700 of that 1,000 pounds is fluid.
Right.
Okay? Now, when a horse is given 5 cc's of Lasix, he pisses out roughly 35 pounds of fluid. Okay? 35 pounds of fluid. 35 pounds of fluid, that's 8 gallons. Let's say that's 8 gallons. And when they race, they sweat another 35 pounds. So that's 70 pounds. 70 pounds, take 70 pounds away from 700 pounds. That's 10%.
Yeah.
Once a horse loses 10% of his bodily fluids, which include magnesium, potassium, all of that stuff, their body starts to shut down. Everything starts at that point.
You could get kidney failure from that too.
Everything starts
and
to
the colic.
So just knowing that between Lasix and sweating, they're going to lose between 60 and 70 pounds of fluid. And at that point, 7, 8, 9, 10% loss of body fluids, the body starts to shut down. Everything starts to happen. Just that alone. Why the fuck would you want to give a horse Lasix? Why would you want to give a horse
I hated
Lasix
Lasix.
instead of
really
solving the problem? The problem's easy to solve. But I won't get into that.
There's a
I'm
lot
waiting
of
for
things
somebody
out
to come
there
on
that
and
we could
debate
do,
me.
and you know, I'm involved with a lot of research right now because of the stem cell company, and we're trying everything we can.
How long before that gets approved?
This year sometime. But we're trying to do a lot of different things to use really holistic of the body stuff that don't test. And, it fixes rather than masks. Like here, the Lasix, you talk about weight. The Ben Franklin pace when my horse had the world record. He lost 150 fucking pounds. Okay, it was 99 degrees. The humidity was 100%. He was weighed as he left the farm, and he was weighed when he went home from the farm. He lost 150 pounds.
Wow.
So now think about this. Everyone gives their horse fluids, hydrate. Now you're dehydrating. What could possibly happen when you give horses Lasix?
But there's a
They
big
keep
difference
colic.
between how much a horse loses when he dehydrates, meaning racing and Lasix
Right.
and everything else, and then they give him 1 or 2 jugs that mean absolutely
No,
nothing.
you got to give them a whole fucking box of jugs or
Yeah,
more.
I remember when they first invented that drink that we used to drink, Gatorade.
Yeah.
I used to buy it by the case, and every time a horse finished racing, the next day I'd have the vet come, put the tube down, and put the whole thing of
Yeah,
Gatorade
that's good stuff for them.
into them.
Sometimes I used to pour that in their bowl, and they would drink, in their bucket, and they would drink it. Some of them didn't want to drink it.
It's that whole thing now. Now I understand they're giving these fines out. I just got word that some guy got like a couple of $100,000 fine and suspended for 15 years. Wow.
Well, look at in Sweden. If you put a cold water hose on a horse 2 days before the race, you're banned for life if you get caught doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because
If
you got a
you-
swelling and you're putting the hose.
Oh, I see. You
on
mean
the
holes in the horse's
and,
leg.
You know,
Yeah.
the horse should be scratched.
I know with the thoroughbreds, if the vet comes every morning, the morning the horse is in the race, the vet comes to the barn, he wants you to run him up and down there, and he look at you got to take the bandages off. If there's one flake of scurf, horse is scratched. One flake. No such thing as blistering in that game. Over here, you can come into the paddock with a horse with a whole leg blistered, and they don't even bother you. They just go.
Well, the game needs to be repealed, like Trump says. The judicial system, it needs to be
The
revised.
people that ran harness racing, like I always said, it was political dumping grounds. They didn't know what the hell they were doing, and in comes the casinos and the lottery and everything else. Nobody paid attention, and from having 30,000 people in the grandstand, it got down to 30 people in the grandstand, and now they're trying to revive it, and at the same time conquer the drugs, conquer this. In the meantime,
People are afraid because you know what happens whenever you repeal? There's loss of money. The government loses money, the industry loses money, the breeders lose money. But at the end of the day, who does it hurt? It hurts the people, the tradespeople. It hurts the owners. It hurts the people that drive, train, own. Owners got money, so they're never going to get hurt. They like to play and have fun. But if you don't do something and set up new rules and put out a better product to the betting population and the people that, patronize.
someday maybe somebody
gambling.
will come on. And
It's really not a tough thing to fix.
no.
It's a little bit of brains and a little bit of power, and you could put a great product together that has aftercare for the animals. But no one wants to pony up, and I get brought under fire. Why? Because I got a couple of horses that may not look fat, and they got dirt on them. I could see it. People look at them. Oh, the horse don't have a coat on. Oh, the horse is in mud. The horse looks like shit. He's in a shit stall. Well, if he wasn't in the shit stall, that's where I was able to put him. Where the fuck else could I put him? It was raining. I put him in the fucking stall. I got to go to work because if I don't go to work, I can't feed the horse. So what do I do then? Let the Amish take him and they fucking kill him?
You did nothing wrong.
All my friends told me that.
You did nothing wrong.
Look.
This, I ain't even going to talk about him. Anything else you want to talk about before we go?
You want to continue where we left off a little bit, or
Where do we leave off?
with the Meadowlands pace?
Artistic fella, reduce my boy David. Artistic fella wins the Meadowlands pace in a masterpiece, 1:48.4.
Go ahead.
Well, that's what I really wanted to do, because
ahead.
for the people that had a lot of fun with us talking, maybe we could get a lot more people, like me that had horses and some of the good trainers out here, and turn this thing into something good.
Well, you
As
see,
good as it is.
here's the problem. It would be great if I didn't have a reputation.
Yeah, but
I have a
look, that's
reputation,
old
and-
fucking news.
Yeah, but
If your
there ain't
facility-
nobody. I can't ask nobody to come on. You mentioned that the trainer that your sister has
Right.
horses with, that he would like to come
He
on.
will come on.
I
It's just a different theme, you know. You could talk about your shit. You know, I'll laugh when you talk about shit because, hey, I'm no fucking angel, you know. But
no,
when
but
I had my
the
kids-
people that could come on, see, like I tell you, who would come on here if he was still on? Jerry Silverman. He'd come right on here. I really believe Ronnie Pierce would come right on here.
But you know what?
But
if
these-
I'm on here, other fucking people are going to come on.
Well,
here.
I
And
hope
you know what
so.
it is, but they don't. They, you know, it could be good because stuff like this is good. It's good for the game. You know, I'm a regular guy.
Not only that, but all the horsemen, if they would come on,
They
and
will.
the drivers, they could, in just a general conversation, they could maybe help the people in power to help change the game, to
that's-
help fix something.
That, what you just
They can
said is
tell
something
about-
that we should do. Because I was thinking about a lot of different things. When you just get swamped and people are firing at you and they're making sense, something needs to be done. And you know, that's what needs to be done. You got to go right to the top, and you know, shit has to change. You know, shit has to change. Look,
And not
if there's
only
no-
that, but the guys, if they would come in, I could never ask them. They would have to call me and say, Larry, I'll come on. I would never ask a Hall of Famer to come on because of the reputation that I have, even though we're all friends and they all
Yeah, but
knew-
if you're talking about good, clean stuff, what the fuck's the
yeah, but
difference?
it's still it's like going to Al Capone's house, you know, to have it's
Well, it is. It's you're putting yourself in company. You know, then you know that's it.
But every one of these drivers and trainers have stories that are unbelievable.
Right.
The mob genre right now is the biggest thing that's out there. People love listening to every time I have a Larry Mazza on or a mob guy on, I get the most views because they want to hear them stories. There's millions of stories that happen during a race, during a training incident, or stories related to the racetrack. I have 1 million of them myself. But I can't I got to do it all by myself, and I can't ask anybody. I feel terrible when Jimmy Marone, when we were doing the Wildwood Jeb thing, when he won the Cane Pace, we called and he said he wanted to sit right next to me. We were going to watch the race and he was going to narrate what happened and everything. And then word come down that, I mean, we protected the people. In other words, word, don't go. So he got a big job. And he couldn't.
Yeah, well-
I said, Jimmy, no problem. Stay home. Same thing with Tello Manzi. I know him since he's a kid. I know his
Right.
whole family. I raced with raced with
He
them
loved
all.
what we were talking about because he was a part of that. And you know what? I became very good friends with Cat.
He's a
because-
good guy.
Right. And you know what? He always gave me a report on every horse whenever he drove. You know, as time went on, I learned more. I mean, I didn't know shit when I first came out here. It's amazing I didn't get fucking killed by a horse or in a cart. You know, and, you know, one day I was driving a horse and I didn't even know how to train. I had the sulky. I was scared a little bit, you know. I'm like, wow, I'm right on this horse. This horse is going to kick me. I'm going to fall on the track. And there was buzzards flying around. I'm like, my family's going to find me at 5 o'clock when they need money to have dinner. And they're going to come and find me with my eyes poked out. Or
Do you
out
know
on the-
that
on
I
the
got?
track.
I should have brought it. I've been going through so much in the last couple of days because of that fucking creep. But and not worrying about him, but people calling me about him. When we were filming, I got 2 calls already. I got it on vibrate. I got all.
Yeah, but
people on
I just hope that these people know that, you know, that these horses I have are
They
not in
already
trouble.
know.
And
They
they're in good
weren't in
shape.
trouble then, and
Look, they're healthy. That's all that matters. They're not fat. They're not skinny. And they had mud on them. And you know what? Yeah, I own it. But they didn't have long feet. One of them did. The one that I picked up with the tractor, because I didn't think he was going to be alive. The horse is doing great. He gained a lot of weight, and you know he's going to get his feet done. But you know, even people are making fun of my donkey. I picked the fucking donkey up and I threw him right in the truck with the girl at the farm and Floyd. The guy's 85 years old. We just picked him right up. The horse picked his ass up.
Where'd you
and
get
we
the donkey?
I have him. I rescued him because people were shooting them and killing these donkeys back in the day. And I took 4 of them to my farm. There was on Channel 12 News. They says if the fucking people from the news come to my house, I'm not taking them. I said, just bring them to my house and tell them they got a home for life. And even the girl at my that bought the farm, she took 2 of them for her place. And they're good people. You know, this guy, this guy did this, or this guy said that, and I've all of a sudden said all of this bad shit. Meanwhile, I didn't call the guy. I don't know how he came to me. He says there's been complaints. I don't know why. My horses were being looked at by the Department of Agriculture, and the girl is happy talking to my vet. That's it. I says some of them have EPM. And that was that. She says, well, just get a letter from the vet and you're good. Make sure
I got an
they're
email
treated.
from a guy. I should have brought it. He said he was the groom for. Did you ever have a guy grooming the horse? Because in the winter circle picture at the Meadowlands Pace, there was a girl. Was there ever a guy that groomed autistic fella?
Alec.
Because he emailed me.
It's the kid Alec. Alec was Rachel's boyfriend.
Who's Rachel?
Rachel is the groom.
Oh,
She's the girl that
was in a
took
winter
care of him.
circle picture.
Yeah.
yeah, because he emailed me and he said a lot of good things.
The kid was a good kid. I used to take care of him. They used to watch my horse and do everything. I can't even. I have so much shit that I could say to just make myself look not the way I feel right now, and kind of like I didn't even want to come back to the podcast because of all of the shit that was going on. And then I says, you know what? Why the fuck should I feel like I did something wrong when I didn't? You know,
didn't do
I'm
nothing
feeding
wrong.
horses for 22 fucking decades. A lot of them too, and you know what the fuck I had.
I
You
was
know.
there. Just so the people know, I was there. I was at your farm. I was at your house. I was at your house where every room had every kind of animal you could think
Yeah.
of. Every
Yeah.
kind.
I was renting from the animals. That's what I was doing. They owned my house. They owned my farm. And I don't regret that. I did a lot of good
And
stuff.
I mentioned to your sister, I says, do you realize that your brother has all the dogs he rescued? Your brother has about 30 or 40
I had
dogs.
fucking 30 dogs at one time.
Your brother has 100 horses. Your brother has every kind of animal in the house.
I had
And
a fucking Canadian goose swimming in my bathtub for 2 days while I was treating him. Then I threw him back in the pond. If I didn't grab him, the foxes would have grabbed him. I used to buy the foxes. You know what I used to do? I knew where their den was. So when the baby geese were born on the farm, people says, you're altering nature. No, I'm not. I would get dog food, the wet dog food, open up the cans and put out like 4 plates of dog food right by the den. They would come out with the babies. They would eat the dog food and then go right back in the den. And then I would do a head count of the baby geese every day, and it never went lower. I mean, they always got 1 or 2 of them, But I didn't like looking at them every day. So I used to buy off the foxes.
All right, this podcast was to clear the air. I got everything out of my system. People, please stop sending me messages about Joe and all your court documents. I'm all done with it. I mean, about Mike. I'm all done with Mike. That I hope I never mention his name again. Joe, you're going to come back again. Maybe definitely come back once.
Well, I could probably bring a couple of people down so that you would enjoy having. So
bring whoever you want down,
Yeah.
and we could just sit around and tell horse stories and tell stories of accidents, races, what happened in the race. If you can get them and they want to come, they're more than welcome.
Well, I got
here.
a couple of people that'll come down. Good guys that are meaningful people in the game, and some of them are my partner. you know, with this company that we're doing. So
Well, I think in the winner's circle you had about 500. You had probably half of Brooklyn in the winner's
Yeah,
circle.
yeah.
So
yeah, there was 12 cops. I don't know why there was cops in my winner's circle. I never saw that before.
Well, you probably had half of the mob in there too.
Well, I can't control the people from Brooklyn that come, you know.
All right,
Hey,
Joe.
I used to buy 30, 40 pictures a night and give them to the guys that may have been worth $3, $4 that spent their last money gambling. They come in the winner's circle, and they loved it. Here's your fucking picture. You
Yeah,
know?
I
And they
know.
used to say it's the people's horse, my horse, because I used to watch the race right amongst everybody. And they had a lot of fun with me because I would talk to them and, you know.
The bottom line is this, and then we're going to end this because I'm hungry. The bottom line is this: you're a good guy. You spent millions and millions and millions of dollars rescuing horses, treating horses right up to today. The horses that you have now are fine. You're a good guy.
They are fine.
Mike is a
They are
scumbag, and because of Mike, the only good thing that happened out of that is I'm going to start the bullshit club. And Mike, you fit each category. You're a bullshit artist, you're an asshole, you're a jerk off, and you're a scumbag. See you next week, guys. Good night.